In the tapestry of our lives, Sarah's presence was akin to a radiant thread that wove through every moment, illuminating the ordinary with an extraordinary depth of love and companionship. Our journey together began amidst the bustling energy of a Nashville club, where serendipity led to a chance encounter on the eve of her 21st birthday. As fate would have it, a clumsy collision led to the spilling of her drink, an accident that served as the catalyst for our fateful meeting. In the midst of the ensuing cleanup, amidst apologies and laughter, an unspoken connection sparked between us, igniting a flame of curiosity and intrigue that would shape the course of our lives. From that serendipitous moment, our bond blossomed, fueled by shared laughter, heartfelt conversations, and a magnetic pull that seemed to draw us closer with each passing day. A year later, we stood hand in hand, exchanging vows of eternal love and commitment in a ceremony that marked the beginning of our shared journey as husband and wife. Armed with an accounting degree, I embarked on a career as a certified public accountant, while Sarah, with her business administration degree, provided unwavering support and encouragement every step of the way. As we settled in Atlanta, near our families, the foundation of our relationship grew stronger with each passing day. Our love was a beacon of light, guiding us through the ups and downs of life, from the joyous anticipation of Angel's impending arrival to the shared triumphs and challenges of building a life together. With the birth of our daughter, our family was complete, and our hearts overflowed with a love that knew no bounds. Over the ensuing decade, we navigated the ebb and flow of family life with grace and resilience, finding solace in the rhythm of our daily routines and the warmth of our shared affection. Though our intimate life evolved over time, with the demands of parenthood and career responsibilities, the depth of our connection remained unwavering, rooted in mutual respect, trust, and unwavering devotion. As Sarah returned to the workforce, her presence in our lives only grew more radiant, her tireless dedication to our family and her unwavering support a constant source of inspiration. Together, we weathered the storms and celebrated the triumphs, forging a bond that was unbreakable in its strength and enduring in its depth. Residing in a comfortable apartment nestled within an upscale community, we reveled in the simple joys of family dinners, weekend outings, and quiet moments shared in each other's embrace. Our financial stability afforded us the luxury of planning for Angel's future and our own retirement, but it was the richness of our love and the depth of our connection that truly defined the abundance of our lives. As our journey together continued, our physical expressions of love may have shifted with the passage of time, but the flame of our passion burned ever bright, fueled by the depth of our emotional bond and the unspoken language of love that passed between us. With each kiss, each touch, and each whispered word of affection, we affirmed the strength of our connection and the enduring power of our love, a love that would stand the test of time and endure for all eternity. Receiving Sarah's spontaneous displays of affection, be it kisses, hugs, or heartfelt acknowledgments of her love, never failed to overwhelm me. It was, without a doubt, the cornerstone of our marriage, the very essence that made our bond so enduring and profound. While I reciprocated her affection with equal fervor, Sarah made it a point to consistently remind me of the depth of her love, ensuring that I never doubted the sincerity of her feelings. As our daughter Angel grew older, her interests expanded, and she eagerly joined the math club, often staying after hours and returning home around 5 p.m. To accommodate Angel's schedule, Sarah adjusted her own, working late 2 nights a week, coinciding with Angel's activities to ensure she was never left alone at that tender age. Our meticulous planning also extended to aligning Sarah's work schedule with that of her boss, William, who had recently earned a promotion to senior partner in his father-in-law's firm. Despite the adjustments in our routines, our marriage remained steadfast and unwavering. My business flourished, expanding to employ 45 individuals, making us a well-known and respected accounting firm. However, our success attracted the attention of larger firms in the area, who sought to acquire or merge with us, presenting us with new opportunities and challenges. As Angel approached college age, our focus shifted to her future, while Sarah continued to excel in her career. Despite the passage of time, Sarah's beauty remained undiminished, her slim figure, long legs, and shapely demeanor a testament to her timeless allure. Yet, despite her undeniable attractiveness, Sarah maintained a professional and conservative demeanor, never allowing her personal life to overshadow her professional responsibilities. A significant milestone arrived when I received a call from William, Sarah's boss, informing me of her impending award at a banquet the following month. Both Angel and I were invited to attend, and I eagerly accepted, knowing how proud Angel would be to witness her mother's professional achievements. However, it was imperative that we keep the award a secret until the ceremony, adding an air of anticipation to the event. In the weeks leading up to the ceremony, Sarah remained unaware of our plans, dedicating herself to her work with characteristic diligence and professionalism. Her dedication paid off when she was tasked with delivering a presentation at a prestigious event at the Ritz-Carlton downtown. Little did she know, her efforts would soon be recognized in front of her peers and loved ones. As the lights dimmed and the introductions began, I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride at the sight of Sarah gracing the stage, her beauty and poise captivating the audience. With Angel by my side, we watched as Sarah delivered her presentation with confidence and grace, her words a testament to her dedication and expertise. And as William took the stage to praise her contributions, I knew that Sarah's hard work and commitment had not gone unnoticed, both at home and in her professional life. Following the ceremony, Sarah's joy and sense of accomplishment were palpable, and Angel and I basked in the glow of her success. Our family bond felt stronger than ever, a testament to the love and support that defined our marriage. As we left the venue, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the life we had built together, filled with love, happiness, and shared achievements. And as we drove home, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, united in our commitment to each other and our family. In the days that followed, Sarah's award served as a constant reminder of her dedication and hard work, inspiring us all to strive for excellence in our endeavors. And as we settled back into our routine, I couldn't help but marvel at the strength and resilience of our family bound together by love, trust, and mutual respect. With Angel preparing for college and Sarah continuing to excel in her career, I knew that our future held endless possibilities, and I looked forward to facing whatever challenges came our way, knowing that we would always emerge stronger together. My heart sank as I stood there, frozen in disbelief, clutching the drinks in my hand. It felt as though the world around me had come to a standstill, while inside, a storm of emotions raged. There they were, Sarah and William, sharing a tender embrace, their lips meeting in a passionate kiss that spoke volumes of their undeniable connection. The sight was like a dagger to my heart, piercing through the facade of happiness and pride that had enveloped me just moments before. The betrayal, the deceit, it all unfolded before my eyes, shattering the illusion of the perfect life I thought we had built together. I struggled to comprehend the scene playing out before me, grappling with the harsh reality of Sarah's infidelity. Every fiber of my being screamed in agony, torn between confronting her then and there or retreating into the shadows and pretending I hadn't seen anything. In the midst of my turmoil, a flood of memories washed over me, the years of love, laughter, and shared dreams that now seemed tainted by this heartbreaking revelation. How could she betray our sacred bond, our vows of love and fidelity, with another man, let alone her boss? As the shock began to wear off, replaced by a searing pain and a profound sense of betrayal, I felt a surge of anger rising within me. Anger at Sarah for her betrayal, anger at William for taking advantage of her, anger at myself for being oblivious to the truth for so long. But beneath the anger, there was also a deep sadness, a profound sense of loss for the life we had shared and the future we had envisioned together. The foundation of trust and love upon which our marriage was built now lay shattered at my feet, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty and heartache. In that moment, as I stood there, a silent witness to the unraveling of my world, I made a decision to confront Sarah, to demand answers, and to reclaim the shattered pieces of my shattered heart. For better or for worse, I knew that I could no longer turn a blind eye to the truth, no matter how painful it may be. The ride home felt like an eternity, each passing moment weighed down by the heavy burden of betrayal and deceit. Sarah attempted to break the tension, engaging in light conversation with Angel, but I remained lost in the turmoil of my own thoughts. The events of the evening replayed in my mind like a broken record, each scene more painful than the last. As we arrived home, I retreated into silence, unable to articulate the depth of my anguish to Sarah or Angel. The facade of normalcy crumbled around me, leaving me exposed and vulnerable to the raw emotions churning within. Sarah, ever perceptive, sensed my distress and attempted to reach out, but her words fell on deaf ears as I grappled with the overwhelming sense of betrayal that consumed me. In the solitude of our bedroom, Sarah's attempts at reconciliation only served to exacerbate my anger and resentment. How could she expect me to simply brush aside the sight of her locked in a passionate embrace with another man? The trust that once bound us together lay shattered, replaced by a gaping void of doubt and suspicion. Despite Sarah's pleas for communication, I found myself retreating further into myself, the walls closing in around me as I struggled to make sense of the chaos unfolding within. The silence between us grew deafening, a stark reminder of the chasm that now separated us. In the darkness of the night, I lay awake, tormented by the echoes of betrayal that reverberated through my mind. Sleep eluded me, my thoughts consumed by questions that had no answers, doubts that had no resolution. How could I move forward from this betrayal, this breach of trust that cut to the very core of our marriage? With each passing moment, the distance between us widened, until we existed in separate worlds, strangers trapped within the confines of a shattered dream. The road ahead seemed daunting, fraught with uncertainty and pain, but deep down, I knew that I could no longer ignore the truth that lay before me. The time for reckoning had come, and I could no longer hide from the harsh reality of our broken marriage. After a night of turmoil and sleeplessness, the morning sun pierced through the curtains, signaling the start of what promised to be a challenging day. Memories of the distressing scene from the previous evening flooded my mind as I struggled to comprehend the situation. With a heavy heart, I dragged myself out of bed and headed to the bathroom, seeking solace in the familiar routine of washing and brushing my teeth. As I went about my morning ritual, I noticed Sarah watching me from the bed, her expression a mix of concern and apprehension. Despite her attempts to appear composed, her eyes betrayed the turmoil within. "Good morning, sweetheart. Did you sleep well?" she inquired, her voice tinged with an air of normalcy that felt surreal given the circumstances. Ignoring her question, I hastily dressed, unable to shake off the weight of the unanswered question that lingered in the air. Before leaving the bedroom, I couldn't resist turning to face her, my gaze filled with a mix of anger and hurt. "How long?" I demanded, the words escaping my lips before I could think better of them. Sarah remained silent, her eyes cast downward, unable to meet my accusing gaze. With a heavy sigh, I turned away, unable to bear the weight of the silence that hung between us any longer. Leaving her behind, I stepped out into the morning light, seeking refuge in the mundane familiarity of breakfast. With each step, I grappled with a torrent of conflicting emotions, anticipating the inevitable conversation that lay ahead. Despite my dread, I knew I couldn't avoid it any longer. As I navigated through the bustling streets, the question continued to gnaw at my insides. How could she betray me with William, while still showering me with affection? As I pulled into the driveway, a sense of apprehension gnawed at my insides. Stepping out of the car, I found Sarah on the patio, her gaze fixed on the tranquil surface of the lake, lost in thought. The silence between us felt heavy, pregnant with unspoken words. Pouring myself a cup of coffee, I settled beside her, the cool breeze carrying the weight of our impending conversation. "How long?" The words hung in the air, heavy with expectation. Sarah's eyes welled with tears, her trembling voice breaking the silence. "3 years." The revelation hit me like a sledgehammer, sending shockwaves through my body. 3 years of secrets, of lies, of betrayal. I struggled to process the magnitude of her confession. 3 years of clandestine meetings, of stolen moments, of deceit. 3 years of our lives tainted by the shadow of infidelity. The sheer enormity of it threatened to engulf me, drowning me in a sea of despair. With each passing moment, the reality of Sarah's betrayal sank in deeper, like a dagger twisting in my heart. The pain was suffocating, crushing me under its weight. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to demand answers. But all I could do was sit there in stunned silence, grappling with the shattered remnants of our once perfect marriage. As I drove aimlessly, the weight of betrayal bore down on me like a suffocating blanket. Every turn of the wheel echoed the tumultuous whirlwind of emotions swirling within me. Sarah's tear-stained face, etched with guilt and remorse, haunted my thoughts, replaying the scene on the patio over and over again. In the solitude of my car, I grappled with the reality of her infidelity, each revelation plunging a dagger into my already shattered heart. How could she, the woman I loved with every fiber of my being, betray me in such a profound and unforgivable way? The depth of her deception cut me to the core, leaving me adrift in a sea of anguish and disbelief. Unable to make sense of the chaos consuming my mind, I sought refuge in the only person I knew could offer solace, my brother, Tony. Despite our contrasting paths in life, Tony had always been my anchor, my confidant in times of trouble. With a heavy heart, I dialed his number, steeling myself for the inevitable conversation that would lay bare the raw pain festering within me. Hey, Johnny. Tony's voice crackled over the line, filled with warmth and familiarity. What's going on, bro? As I poured out my anguish to him, the floodgates of emotion burst open, unleashing a torrent of heartache and despair. Tony listened in silence, his presence a beacon of strength amidst the storm raging inside me. With each word I uttered, a weight lifted from my shoulders, replaced by a sense of catharsis and release. Damn, Johnny. Tony murmured, his voice heavy with empathy. I can't even imagine what you're going through. But you know I got your back, right? Whatever you need, I'm here for you. His unwavering support offered a glimmer of hope in the darkness, a lifeline to cling to in the midst of my turmoil. With Tony by my side, I felt a flicker of resilience ignite within me, a determination to navigate the treacherous waters ahead with courage and conviction. Thanks, Tony, I replied, my voice choked with emotion. I don't know what I'd do without you, bro. As we ended the call, a sense of clarity washed over me, a newfound resolve to confront the challenges ahead with unwavering strength and resilience. With Tony's words echoing in my mind, I knew that no matter how daunting the journey, I wouldn't have to face it alone. I love Sarah, and I can't believe she did this. Do you know who did it yet, and what exactly? Acknowledging his disbelief and love for Sarah, I admitted that I knew who was involved but lacked all the details. I disclosed that it wasn't a one-time occurrence and expressed a strong desire for revenge against the person responsible. The intense anger I felt even made me contemplate damaging my wife. Tony offered his advice, drawing on the experiences of many friends who had gone through similar situations. He urged me to release my anger by engaging in physical activities like going to the gym or jogging. He emphasized the importance of calming down and allowing him to assist me in navigating through the challenges. Tony encouraged me to confront the situation by gathering all available information and deciding on a course of action. He assured me of his support in executing any plans I formulated, advising me to keep my words minimal and act as normally as possible. He acknowledged the difficulty of the task. Finally, he instructed me to call him the next day with updates, assuring me of his continued assistance. Expressing gratitude, I thanked Tony for his help and conveyed my intention to call him the following day, bringing our conversation to an end. On the drive, I passed a mattress store and had my first idea. I parked in the lot and made the first move. I had no intention of leaving the marriage until Angel was in college, which meant I'd be married for the next 2 years. There was no way I was going to sleep with Sarah again, and I'd be damned if I left my bedroom. So, I had my first action plan, which made me realize there was a lot more to do. After meeting with the salesperson, I told them I'd pay full price if they could deliver the 2 full-size beds I had just picked out, along with all the furniture, including the headboard and all the hardware and assembly. I paid an extra $100 to have the current king-size bed dismantled. I paid, and we arranged delivery for 4:00 p.m. that afternoon. I texted Angel to let her know I'd pick her up, drove to her school, and waited in the parking lot. We went to lunch, and I gently explained to her that there would be some changes in the house in the near future. During our conversation, Angel inquired about the events at dinner the previous night, expressing her awareness that something had occurred. She requested not to be kept in the dark, emphasizing the importance of maintaining the honesty we had always shared. In response, I acknowledged the fairness of her request, recognizing the difficulty of the situation and her right to know. I revealed that I had observed her mother and her boss kissing backstage, offering the perspective that it might have been a congratulatory gesture. I downplayed the significance of the kiss, suggesting it shouldn't be a cause for intense anger. Following my confrontation with her mother, she admitted to having an affair with him for 3 years, a revelation that I found difficult to comprehend. I conveyed that this revelation had forever changed our relationship. Angel then questioned whether I intended to divorce her mother. I explained to Angel that I hadn't decided on divorce yet and that I was still working through the situation. I reassured her we would remain married, but things would be different. I emphasized the importance of her being strong and not taking sides, reminding her that her mother loved her. I acknowledged the mistakes her mother and I had made but expressed the desire for Angel's life not to be adversely affected by them. I asked her not to, it wasn't an immediate consideration, as I wanted to observe how things unfolded, especially considering Angel's well-being. However, I affirmed that significant changes were inevitable beginning from that day. Sarah pleaded with me to allow her to explain and implored me to understand, emphasizing that she loved me and that we were husband and wife. I confronted Sarah, pointing out that she had willingly engaged in an affair with William over 500 times without my knowledge. I expressed my disbelief that she believed there was anything she could say to gain acceptance from a self-respecting man. I questioned her perception of my strength and suggested that she hadn't thoroughly considered the consequences of her actions. I revealed that what truly hurt me was the loss of the closeness that I had once cherished and looked forward to. I declared that I could no longer share that closeness with her, and I conveyed the impact it would have on me emotionally. I stated that I would no longer go to bed with her or make love, and I expressed the sorrow I felt in losing the small gestures of affection like kisses and hugs. Acknowledging the inevitability of changes in our relationship due to her breach of marriage vows, I declared that, like her, I would no longer be faithful and would seek other lovers. This was a departure from my previous stance, as I had never considered such actions before. I concluded by asserting that she could continue seeing her lover because she would no longer receive anything from me. It was as if she had received a blow to the head and physically withdrew from my remarks. She lost her balance and dropped onto the couch, startled. Sarah had obviously not realized the consequences of her infidelity. I communicated to Sarah that I couldn't agree to remain faithful after her betrayal, considering the magnitude of her actions. I expressed my intention to seek other relationships, a decision influenced by the pain caused by her cheating, lying, and infidelity. As the conversation unfolded, the doorbell rang, providing a timely interruption. I welcomed the installers who had arrived to remove our shared bed. I explained to Sarah that, as a result of our strained relationship, I had purchased 2 new beds to replace the old one. The installation process was already in progress. Sarah questioned the presence of the installers and the reason behind the changes. I clarified that since I had decided never to share a bed with her again, it wouldn't be fair for either of us to move into the guest room. Therefore, I had bought 2 separate beds. Our current bed was being removed and new ones were being set up. I informed her about the option to exchange her mattress within 90 days if she didn't like the one I had chosen. In response to these revelations, Sarah inquired with surprise, "We're going to sleep in separate beds?" I explained to Sarah that it wouldn't be fair for either of us to give up our shared bedroom, especially since our closeness had come to an end. I expressed disbelief at the situation and the necessity for the changes that were taking place. In response, I reminded Sarah of her affair with her boss, emphasizing that it had occurred over 500 times behind my back. I watched as the men removed the bed we had shared for years, feeling a mix of pain and regret. The regret stemmed from being married to someone who had betrayed me so profoundly. The following day, I called my brother Tony, revealing the shocking truth about Sarah's affair with her boss. I expressed my astonishment at the revelation that she had been involved with him twice a week for the past 3 years, amounting to over 500 instances. I admitted to feeling blindsided and humiliated, uncertain about how to proceed. I sought information about the identity of the man involved in the affair. I disclosed to my brother, Tony, the identity of Sarah's boss, William Aston, and expressed my deep dissatisfaction with the situation. Tony sympathized, acknowledging the unfortunate circumstances. I then shared my desire for William to experience significant suffering for his role in the affair. Tony asked about my plans regarding Sarah, and I expressed my intention to divorce her once our daughter Angel was in college. I revealed my plan to make her life difficult until then, shutting her out and ensuring a lonely existence. I emphasized my determination to expose her actions and ruin her career. If Sarah attempted to initiate a divorce before Angel started college, the situation at home became increasingly complex and emotionally charged. Concerned for my well-being, Tony offered to take care of William Aston while I managed affairs at home. I cautioned him against engaging in any activities that could lead to legal trouble and insisted on handling my situation responsibly. Tony assured me that he understood and promised not to take actions that could jeopardize his own safety. We concluded the conversation with the understanding that we would talk again soon. The following weeks were stressful at home. Sarah tried to engage me in conversation, but I refused to answer her more than a word or two. I could tell she was frustrated and tried to help me forgive her, but I was still hurt, angry, and unyielding. I buried myself in work, came home late every night, and wasn't home on the weekends. Tensions were high, and everyone was walking on eggshells, waiting for me to explode. When I came home one night after a long day at work, I found Sarah in her bed, waiting to talk to me. After all these years of sleeping with the only woman I loved, I was now sleeping in a bed just a few feet away from Sarah's. It was sad, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do this for the next 2 years until Angel left for university. After my shower and as I lay down in bed, Sarah initiated a conversation, asking about my day. I responded briefly with a simple good. She expressed a desire to discuss some matters and acknowledged that she knew I wanted nothing to do with her. Despite that, she conveyed her love for me and expressed a willingness to make small improvements in our relationship. She proposed the idea of quitting her job, suggesting that we didn't need the extra money and that she could be more present for me. She asked for my thoughts on the matter. Despite my efforts to control my anger, her attempt to use terms of closeness triggered a rage in me. I sat up and spoke harshly, expressing indifference to her decisions and urging her to do whatever she wanted with her life. I made it clear that I no longer wanted any romantic involvement with her. Tears welled in my eyes as I conveyed the emotional impact of her actions. As I rolled over and rested my head on the pillow, I heard Sarah sobbing, realizing the depth of the pain I felt. She pleaded for an opportunity to talk, acknowledging the sorrow and regret she had caused. She felt for her actions. She expressed her continued love for me, the anguish caused by our lack of physical connection, and the heartbreak from the perceived coldness between us. She confessed her uncertainty about how to fix the situation but emphasized her desire to salvage the relationship. Sarah also mentioned the toxic tensions in the house and expressed concern for our daughter, Angel, who seemed affected by the strained atmosphere. She suggested the idea of counseling to find a way to coexist without hatred, urging me to consider it for Angel's sake as her departure from the home was imminent. I sighed, acknowledging the fairness and Sarah's concern for Angel, realizing that our daughter was going through a difficult time. After a brief pause, surprising Sarah, I agreed to attend therapy, emphasizing that my motivation was solely for Angel's benefit, not Sarah's. Sarah, visibly moved, interpreted this as progress, and her tears shifted from sorrow to happiness. The following evening, Sarah informed me that she had found a therapist and planned to meet with her individually the next day. She mentioned arranging a couples meeting for Friday at 3:00 p.m. Recognizing the necessity to find a way to coexist without a prolonged divorce process, I agreed with Sarah's decision and acknowledged that living in peace was essential. Angel expressed excitement upon learning about the counseling sessions, hopeful that they might bring her family back together. Her smile, absent for weeks, reappeared. Sarah shared the news with me, stating that Angel was pleased about my agreement to attend couples counseling. Every night after work, I dined alone, intentionally avoiding spending time with Sarah. However, the absence of my daughter, my Angel, during these moments left a void. I longed for the warmth of her smile, the comfort of her hugs, and the endearing way she called me daddy. Despite my desire to distance myself from Sarah, the yearning for a connection with my daughter tugged at my heart. Sarah went to her solo counseling session and was wiped out that evening when I got home. I found that she had been crying, and I realized that it was probably hard to tell someone that they had cheated on our family for years. Somehow, I had no sympathy or compassion for the woman who had broken my heart. My brother Tony called me later that week to tell me what was going on. He explained that he was still owed some favors from his former acquaintances and that the debt they owed him was not in cash but in favors for what he had done for them. He told me not to bother, that everything was in control. After contacting one of his associates, Tony explained the situation. They understood and told him they would take care of it and let him know when it was done. Tony explained that they did want to hurt him, and they wanted to leave it so he would remember it for the rest of his life. He left it in their hands, and he knew it was not going to be pretty. Tony gave them the man's name, the place where he worked, and his phone number. That was all they needed. I guess when Sarah told William that I had found out about their affair, he was heartbroken. He loved Sarah and the way she made him feel. Apparently, they considered themselves a couple when they were together and shared their love during that brief time alone. After their affair became a habit, neither of them believed that their few hours a week could hurt anyone. They were simply two friends spending some time together. Both believed that their spouses never gave up anything or missed their love and time. It was only a few hours a week, and neither spouse missed their short time together. It was the perfect relationship that gave them the excitement and extra love that had been blunted by many years of marriage. After the initial meeting with Dr. Winters, the counselor, our session commenced as expected. The counselor took the lead in initiating the conversation. She addressed me, expressing gratitude for my attendance, and acknowledged that Sarah had already shared her perspective during their meeting earlier in the week. Dr. Winters emphasized the importance of honesty in my responses and assured me that everything discussed during the sessions would remain confidential. She encouraged openness, reassuring me that nothing I said would be shocking to her. I nodded in acknowledgement, curious to see how the session would unfold. The counselor, Dr. Winters, prompted Sarah to share her intentions for the counseling sessions. Sarah, my unfaithful wife, turned her attention toward me, her eyes filled with tears, and expressed her desires. She conveyed a strong longing to communicate with me, rebuild our family, and restore the physical and emotional connection we once had. Her emotions were palpable, and I sensed the sincerity in her words. Although it was difficult to witness her pain over the loss of my love, I maintained composure, sitting quietly as she wiped her eyes with a handkerchief. When asked by the doctor about my goals for the sessions, I expressed a desire to eliminate the haunting significance of the number 500 from my thoughts. I noticed Sarah's reaction, a wince, and an averted gaze as I mentioned the number. In response to Dr. Winter's confusion about the number's significance, I adopted a sarcastic tone, referencing Sarah's prior session with the counselor. I questioned Sarah about omitting this detail, prompting the counselor to request a more coherent explanation. I clarified that being an accountant, numbers held particular importance to me. I revealed that over the past 3 years, Sarah had engaged in lewd activities with William over 500 times without my knowledge. This revelation had left an indelible mark on my consciousness, making it the first thing that came to mind whenever the number 500 appeared. After each outburst, a period of silence ensued as emotions settled. The counselor, addressing me as Mr. Park, expressed understanding of my pain but cautioned against using hurtful language. I offered an apology, acknowledging the necessity of expressing my pain and perspective. Sarah, in tears, repeated her apologies, and my anger subsided as I finally relaxed. In response to the counselor's question, I expressed a desire to find a path toward forgiveness for Sarah. My ultimate goal was to create a home devoid of hate and anger, especially for the sake of our daughter. I emphasized the need to live together in peace, recognizing the impact on our family. I thanked the counselor for the opportunity to share my sentiments. Over the next few weeks, I managed to speak in a friendly tone without the venom. Things at home were much better, not good, but better. Angel was home more often, and we tried to engage in normal couple activities. However, the lack of closeness between Sarah and me was evident to everyone. Friends asked Sarah what was wrong because our affection was the exact opposite of what everyone had seen in the last 15 years. It was obvious that we were having a hard time, but we kept going. 2 weeks into our initial couple session, there was an intrusion at William's residence. Unidentified men entered swiftly, administered a beating without disclosing their motive, and promptly left. William was later taken to the hospital. Upon learning about William's incident, Sarah was thunderstruck, aware that I desired revenge and was somehow involved. That night, recounting how someone broke into her boss's house and attacked him, Sarah watched for a reaction. A small grin flitted across my face as I responded, "Wow, that's something," and resumed reading the book in front of me. Struck by my indifferent response, Sarah's inquiry about my feelings for William struck a nerve. Looking up, I glared at her and retorted, "Oh, I am so sorry your lover got hurt. Do you want me to send him flowers? Or should we go see him, darling?" She looked away, and the conversation ended. Sarah sensed my responsibility for the incident and knew that expressing remorse for William could undo all the progress we had made. Earlier in the week, I received a text from Tony with a thumbs up emoji, marking our last contact for several months as things cooled down. I wondered if the police would uncover their affair and question me about the attack, but that never transpired. The police put the report on an open case file and shifted their focus to other crimes. Several months passed, and as promised, I began dating and going out late. After Sarah quizzed me about my activities a few times, she realized she should mind her own business and avoid causing problems. I clarified that we were husband and wife in name only, cohabiting for the sake of our daughter. We eventually found a way to remain civil, and family life was improving. Sarah finally comprehended the extent of the hurt she had caused her husband, acknowledging the irreparable nature of the damage. To keep the family intact, I warned her that I would inform her family and friends about her affair and make her life unbearable if she pursued a divorce before Angel left for college. Sarah remained legally married but emotionally alone. She lacked someone to reciprocate the love she once gave through hugs, kisses, and affection. Defining her relationships with two men, this love was now lost. Despite attending counseling alone, her husband's enjoyment with another woman intensified her sadness. Sarah, driven by vanity, selfishness, and stupidity, had destroyed her marriage and the man she loved. Angel, despite still loving her mother, reminded her that she had brought this upon herself every time she complained about her father. Angel would never forgive her mother for hurting her father, but her love for her mother endured. After Angel left for college, I returned home with divorce papers. A year earlier, I had contemplated ruining Sarah's finances, but I opted for an equitable split. Over the last 2 years, I forgave her, but the love I once felt was irretrievably lost. Sarah, unsurprised by the divorce papers, signed them without protest, relieved at the prospect of starting anew. Having learned her lesson, she vowed never to cheat again. The painful divorce from the woman I loved left me full of remorse for the events leading to our separation. I yearned to undo it all or find a way to forgive her, but the memory of the 500 betrayals haunted me. We sold the house and divided the equity. I moved in with Trisha, a dancer 15 years my junior, whom I had been dating. My confidence and happiness restored, I finally found peace. Sarah never abandoned hope for reconciliation and wept for weeks upon learning of my marriage to another woman. Unable to forgive herself for the damage caused by her selfishness and hubris, she dated but never recovered the lost love. Weight gain, faded looks, and bitterness characterized her lonely life. Angel and Sarah maintained closeness, but my communication with Sarah dwindled. She would never relive the love shared with her wonderful husband and bore the pain she inflicted on her loved ones. Ensuring Angel's college was funded, she became a psychologist driven to help others. She now enjoys a happy married life. The lessons learned from this experience are profound, illustrating the lasting impact of a beautiful yet damaging past.